In life, I really like to simplify things, and you might be like, well, how do you simplify things that are complex? And the best way for me to simplify things is to compare it to nature. In life, there's going to be ups and downs like waves, and that's the beauty of it all, because if everything was the same and neutral and constant, we wouldn't be able to have the capacity to feel. And to feel is such a beautiful thing. It's a gift from God, truly. And sometimes when we are so caught up in a certain situation, we don't have the perspective to look at it for what it actually is, because we're not looking at it from a bird's eye point of view. We're so zoomed into it. And so I like to simplify things when I compare it to nature. So for example, in nature, there are storms, there are difficult and harsh weather conditions, but things still have their season, you know? Sometimes in the winter, growth is it's more limited because of the weather conditions, because of the environment, because of external circumstances that don't allow it to really thrive and flourish. But again, there's beauty in it having its season where it's resting, where it's no longer constantly growing, but this is now the time for hibernation and rest. And then on the other hand, there's spring, where now the environment, the weather conditions permit it to grow, to flourish, to evolve, you know, like, and that's a season in itself. So what I'm saying here is that everything could really be simplified to nature. Everything could be simplified to its essence of creation. And the reason why I really like to simplify things using nature is because it's a form of God's creation. Like, I truly feel that I connect with God the strongest when I'm surrounded by his form of creation, another form of his creation, which is life itself. There's some people, and I have absolutely no like hatred towards religion. I think it's a beautiful way to connect with God. But for me, when I'm personally reading a book and just staring at pages, and I know there's a lot of depth to these books, but it is a book essentially. When I am, sitting or standing and just like reading pages, I feel a lot less connected to God than when I'm surrounded by his forms of creation, by life itself, whether it's nature or people or just like connecting. I think connection is where I feel strongest with God. And for me, that's nature. And nature plays such a big role in my life. And I think everyone should really prioritize nature in their day-to-day life and gaining perspective of their situations by simplifying it down to nature. Everything has a season, everything is temporary, and that's a beautiful thing, is that things constantly change and grow and evolve. And it's like that in nature, it's like that in our own life. And the truth is, once you really understand this, it's that there's a correlation, we're connected. And like our external reality, right? Everything we perceive is just a reflection of our internal state. And it's like the same thing in nature too. I mean, this is just the way my mind works and my worldview, so I'm gonna try to explain it. But for example, a tree has a root, right? Sholish, which is the Hebrew name for roots. And if the root is very strong and stable and healthy, then everything that stems from that root will also be very healthy and strong and stable. So everything comes down to the root, and it's the same thing in our life. That's why it's so important to encompass a holistic approach to really heal your root issues, right? Because as long as you don't heal that, there's still gonna be things stemming from that. Like for example, I know you guys all know how a tree looks like, but I'm just trying to gain like more visual clarity for you guys. So I'm gonna be walking towards like a tree, and I know this video is super raw and free flowing, but like honestly, this feels right and authentic to me. But this is like a tree right over here, right? You see how it starts off? It starts off having its roots, which are grounded right over there, and then it flourishes into what we see as like the tree, right? This is like what you see, but it started off just from the root. And what I'm saying is that the reason why it looks the way that it does is because of everything that stemmed from the root, from the bottom. And in our lives, how can we extrapolate this in our lives? Well, our root is our energy, meaning that everything physical is just an extension of our energy and our essence. So that's why when you change your energy, you change your life. When you change your internal state, you change your whole life. You change your whole external reality, because your external reality is simply just a reflection of your energy, of your thoughts, of your feelings, of your actions. So what I'm saying is that the root is your essence, the root is your energy, and life itself is, it's simple, right? It's simple, but it's complex, just how nature is simple and complex. But I personally like to view it from the lens of simplicity, and I think simplicity is one of the most important things in life. So I'd recommend you guys to view this from simplicity as well. And yeah, take care, guys.